All right. Hello, hello, and welcome to Redemption Radio. I am Human Bones, and I am joined, as always, it seems like on Redemption Radio, by Commissioner and now my captain, Nexus. How's it going?
Good, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. I am ready to talk about like 75 rounds of Doom from
That's right.
week one and week two, because we did not do a radio last week. Um, So let's jump into the standings, and then I want to ask you a couple questions about the season, and we'll just kind of go from there. But we've got, like I said, we're in the middle. Well, actually, we're in the middle of week three now, so we everybody's played two games. So taking a look at the standings, there's a lot of potential for like jockeying for those middle positions there. We've got SBG with 8 points, DR with 6, SP with 5. TR with 5, SWL with 4, and SWAT with 2. So, I mean, halfway through the season, I was going to ask you, how you think it's going. This is the third season of Redemption. So, it's the first time I've played. I think it's been pretty fun, but would love to hear kind of your perspective on it.
Yeah, man. So one thing, tossing it straight back even before we go on to the draft, I thought that we had such a even sort of lineup of captains where we had, most seasons you kind of see there's, one or two guys you're like, come on, man, that guy should be captain because he just gets picked for like $28 every single time. And it sort of really messes with the actual balance of the draft. But that didn't really happen this season. The nearest we had, I think, was Tiger with 26, but
Hmm.
I don't think that's done anything crazy, to be honest. And so as a result of having even captains, I think we really have super even teams. Especially at the start of the draft or at the end of the draft, sorry. You could have told me that, any one of these teams was going to win the league, and I'd comfortably believe you. I think we've got such an even lineup of players and teams here that anything can really happen, and we're seeing sort of these long drawn out games because of it, which is actually, it's not always fun to play 16 rounds in a row. Not that that actually happened, but I think it's pretty cool to see that these long games are happening because often in leagues you only see like 2 round games the whole regular season pretty much, and that's definitely not happening this season.
Yeah, I always felt like, actually, not always, but I feel like it more now where the 10-minute five flag limit thing is like just not enough time. Like, if two teams go up against each other and one team is like clearly better, then okay. But I feel like there's so many of these games where it's like maybe a frag here or a frag there, decides a game. So it was kind of cool, and we can jump into that somewhere in week two where we had a 5 round game. I thought it was cool that we had to sort of force them to, no, you know what, figure it out. Like, figure out how you're going to beat this team.
Yeah.
Because you get into these like marathon games, and it just becomes like who's gonna figure it out first. So I do like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. There's always in other leagues often there's the rules where it's you can tie. I think,
Yes.
unless the game does end up literally going 10 rounds, it's a lot more fun just to slug it out and see who wins. Saying that though, it does get pretty close. Like even just this past week, we'll get into it later, I'm sure, but with 4 round, 5 round games, it's honestly like, maybe if someone woke up on a different side of the bed or just had a different RNG roll, like this could have gone completely different when it's that close. But I still think it's cool to see.
Yeah, I didn't get any direct quotes from Dragon, but I can just at least say that his hot take is RNG. So
100%, a hundred
yeah.
percent, and it's cool that we got different leagues with different rules, and that's why we
Yes.
have it.
Yes. But that's for Vengeance Radio. We
A
can talk
hundred
about that
percent,
later.
yes.
Um, so jumping into week one, this map that we played was Duke Nukem 2, which is if I understand correctly, a map that was sort of made for this season. So it was newer to the WAD, and I don't really know like how much playing time it got beforehand, but interesting decision to like throw it in there for week one. I mean, I thought like it wasn't a crazy map layout. Like it's pretty basic, I think, in terms of competitive CTF gameplay. So it kind of worked as a week one map, but yeah, just interesting to have a map that didn't have a lot of playing time. Get in there for week one. What do you
Yeah,
think?
for sure. Yeah, at Redemption, apparently we just like gambling. Every single week one map we've had so far has always been just a brand new map. I
Oh,
think this map kind of had a little bit less sort of testing perhaps than other maps. I don't think it suffered from that, to be honest. I think we kind of got lucky. I think Wiz made a really good map. It's it's not perfect by any means. I think it does have one or two things that maybe I'd change in hindsight, but I think it's really good. I even preferred it to season one. Um, our first map in season one, it was a Jake map. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It was one with the
Mm,
trees in it. I really liked Cold Blooded from last season's week one. That's honestly one of my favorite maps.
I remember that map. Yeah, that map's
Yeah,
good.
this season, Duke Nukem 2, I really had fun with it. It's we didn't get to play test it quite as much. Sort of before the season started, Prive wasn't kicking off as hard as it usually is. Just players being busy. I think a new AOW WUD came out. Everyone's been playing that, so
Very important.
very, very important to the scene.
Yes,
But yeah,
yes.
no, I honestly I thought it was fun for the gamble we sort of kind of took with putting it at week one and not really having all that much play testing. I think it kind of paid off. I didn't hear any huge complaints.
No, I mean, I thought it was different to have a map where you put the Berserk in such a like a position where it's actually used.
Yeah.
There's like it's sort of like the BFG on heavy weapon dudes. Like,
Hmm.
okay, I guess so. It was different. I liked it. Yeah, I guess like I come from um, like just hearing Ralph, whenever I would suggest maps, he'd be like, "Well, I want to open the season with a really grindy like map that everybody knows because it's an easy way to get people used to the season."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, old man, fine." But I'm just like used to it, right? So it's cool to see a different thing, even if I have some other thoughts about the map and where the spawns are that maybe could have benefited from a little bit more playtesting, but
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
like I wouldn't say the map's broken or anything. It produced really good games.
Definitely not broken. I didn't there was one spawn where it wasn't even that I thought it maybe broke the map or anything. I don't think it broke the map at all. I just thought it really made players sort of adjust more. And I saw it, and I'll touch on it in later here when we talk about some of the games because I saw some teams getting caught out by it. But there's that one spawn on the exit of the acid pit
Mm,
where players would push straight up to mid. Say the defender of the other team would push straight up to mid, they'd spawn frag, to do whatever, and then one of the enemy team's runners would just spawn at that acid pit. They've got a free in. Like, you're 2 seconds away from the main, and they're not looking that direction. So I don't think it breaks the map by any means, but it really forces players to sort of think about the game differently and not just run up to main and spawn frag them over and over again like most maps. You actually
yeah.
would get caught out quite frequently there.
Well, that's something that we practiced a lot. I
Oh
think
yeah,
was that spawning in that spot. Like if you get that spawn,
just
if
run.
the base is clear, yeah, just
Yeah,
run,
just
just go
run.
for a
Like, it
touch.
was
Like
such a good spawn for a runner that it was like,
yeah,
dude, just go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then to also like throw in the sphere in the middle, like trying to time that. I know the difficulties of that. So yeah, yeah, it's cool. And I mean, jumping into the first game was DR and SWL. So DR won that in two. I would say it was a pretty like decisive, dominant win there. Just I think that map was pretty well built for that team. Or you know, I also found it interesting. Like I'll talk about this a little bit more in their week two game, but SWL using like the same lineup for both rounds, and that being Legion and Ninja Dog and Shane, and having Dragon not play, which is like you and I have had this conversation because I like the hardest thing to do as a captain when
Oh
you
yeah,
feel like you have is yeah, I've done it and I've
it's
paid
brutal.
like I yeah, I've done it a bunch of times where I'm like, I want to get this guy a chance to play, and then we lose the round, and then you just kind of lose momentum. It's just hard. You never know
Yeah,
what the right
yeah,
thing is to do. But I always I felt like on this map where maybe frag power because it's so middle centric would have benefited playing Dragon more than Legion. You know, um, so I don't know if their lineup choice was the right choice for this map, especially when
right.
you compare it to like playing against Sharp, who is going to get flags out like crazy, and then Amar, and so yeah, I thought DR had a really good strategy here, and SWL just were not able to really compete with that. Like Sharp just going crazy all over the map pretty much, and the rocket jumps from there to like over the lift and all that stuff. Yeah, I just felt like
Super
DR
solid.
played a full. Yeah, it was a strong performance.
Yeah, no, watching this was kind of looking at the score lines of all these games. This was the only like 2 round decisive win we've had all
Yeah,
season so far, which is kind of crazy to say. But yeah, round one was super close with I think they only lost Andy's team only lost by one flag there. And so I can see why they wouldn't have switched up sort of the lineup or whatnot.
yeah.
One other thing to sort of say with ND this season, and I've heard he's a lot busier this season than he has been perhaps in past seasons. So you might have noticed he hasn't actually been able to practice quite as much.
Only
And
99
so
frags a game instead of
only
109.
99 instead of 150,
Dang.
you know? So,
Right, it's gonna hurt.
but yeah, Andy's one of those guys where it doesn't matter if the guy hasn't played in like a month or two, he's still just going to hop in and just
Yeah,
destroy things. Like it's actually really annoying. But
but team chemistry wise, for
the
sure.
team chemistry wise, yeah, and in terms of knowing, what your strengths are, like if the enemy team's doing this, should I play this guy or whatnot? They just they had one really long. I remember they had one really long practice session, but sometimes it's good to like take a break and come out with fresh eyes. They didn't really get that opportunity, I don't think. So that is a factor, but that's not to take away from DR. I thought DR had kind of the perfect lineup, honestly, for this. Wow, thank you. Anyway, DR sort of had the perfect lineup for this map where you got a Mar. I think he was playing mid, just fragging out, going crazy, and
Yeah,
Sharp, who's you can let that guy just go into the base and get flags up by himself, but when you've got a Mar also pushing with him and getting those spawn frags, clearing mid, I'm not
yeah.
sure
What do you do?
even if SWL switching up their lineup or whatnot would have helped them. We'll never know. Maybe SWL can sort of pull something off and prove themselves the better team in playoffs or whatnot if it comes to that. But yeah, no, it was a really good game to see. A little bit unfortunate with sort of just the time frame which Ninja Dog I think is working with this season, but like I said, that's not to take away from DR's win at all.
Yeah, and every week it's gonna be, you know, a challenge for, I guess, to go back to your point of like having a really balanced season. There's no team that has just like, a player on there that you could be like, that guy's never playing in a game. Like,
Yeah,
they're all going to be tough decisions and really map specific. I think obviously there's like players on every team that you're like, okay, that guy's in every single time because nobody else can run or whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, so they're gonna play around with that. We find out that they did play around with that in week 2, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, so great win from DR, and the second game was SP versus TR, which so SP won this one in 3. We got a 3 rounder. And I thought this one was pretty crazy because they were just trading back and forth. Really, they were trading flags back and forth, and it was really, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first round was kind of quiet. It wasn't quite as crazy. Let me look. Um, I'm wrong. It was not as it was crazy, but it was crazy for like SP, right? It wasn't a back and forth thing. They pretty much controlled that game, and then in round 2, that's when it became that back and forth where TR managed to figure out whatever it was that they were doing wrong or what they needed to adjust, and then they scored in the last 8 seconds, I think, and the same thing in round 3. But in SP's favor. So yeah, it became a really good match after that, and kudos, like Pudo, Poto
Podo.
made adjustments. Pudo made adjustments, and I think what I noticed was he started. I don't know if he was defending in round 1 or if he was just playing back a little bit to help Mertz, but he definitely started pushing and getting more touches and
Right.
creating more pressure. And I think, like, not that I don't have faith in Tiger's ability to do that, but like, it would be one thing if you said, I can't even name a player, but like to have Poto helping you, right,
Hmm.
make runs, and that's only gotta be good for you. And I
Oh yeah.
think that really helped them. So it was cool to see that they turned that around, made it a 3 round game, and then really just like last second capture to lose the match. So, they didn't really have much to be upset about there, just stuff to build on. And then really good win for SP. And I thought Marine Guy, like, I could talk all day long, and we have talked all day long for years about Lang and Disparol, but Marine Guy had a really good game as well. So it was cool to see that. I thought that was a really good game.
Yeah, no, you definitely touched on some good points there. I thought as well as you, like Moringa played excellent. Um, there's even actually Lang posted a video of their comms and stuff. They're really trying with comms, and that
Hmm.
wasn't necessarily a team I was too sure would have like really good comms. And actually, speaking of comms, you sort of kind of wonder what TR's comms are like, if anything. Are they using binds, that sort of
Hmm.
thing, right? Like if someone gets the acid spawn that we were talking about earlier, what are they going to say? Are they going to bind like acid or what's the play there?
Yeah.
So
Mm.
it's sort of an interesting setup with the teams there. One thing to think about is some teams, just with the nature of the players, how they like to play, they might not even be using comms, and I think that does play a factor.
Oh, it
And sort
totally
of,
does.
yeah, 100%. And like you were saying earlier, I don't think this was a loss that TR should have ever been like, oh no, this really sucks, because it was just like a last second capture that sort of knocked them out of that one. Um, yeah, not too much else to say on that one. Marine guy did great. Maybe TR on this map, just with no comms, sort of might have hindered them a little bit. Are those saying that, even this previous week, we've seen them deal with that just fine, and they'll probably
Yeah.
continue to deal with that just fine, but maybe a factor for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I know that TR, bounced back in week two, so we'll chat about that. But the final game of week one was our game, SBG versus SWAT. So a little bit of drama before the game started, but everything seemed to, the clouds cleared above Stahl's house, and I mean, I think he still had connection problems in round one, but
Yeah.
it fixed itself, and we were able to have like a worry-free round two and three. So just from what I saw, was like SBG had a really good round one, and then SWAT came back and took round two, and yeah, round three was just like it's interesting how that happens sometimes, where it can be really close after that first round because teams are kind of feeling each other out, or like one team does something really well and the other team's like, fuck, we're gonna stop that. And then it becomes a really close game. This was sort of just like back and forth, like each team was reacting to what the other was doing. So I thought you guys did a really good job of reacting to them, but you know, why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, just to preface it, really unfortunate with what's happening with Style. Like, it just sucks before games. Something you can't control happens, and you can't actually connect. I think sort of round one he did time out, but then in between, like round two and three, he also timed out. So I'm not sure if his
Oh, he did.
connection
Okay.
was
Oh,
stable
right in
the entire
between.
time.
Yeah.
I think he probably wasn't obviously timing out during the game, but he actually was lagging probably a little bit,
Mm,
which
mm.
definitely plays a factor. I wish it was on just like even playing field. I don't like to win games like that. We take those obviously, but no. But I wish it was on more of an even playing field. Round one, super unfortunate for SWAT. We took that one, and then round two, they came back and they adjusted. They took round two, and sort of between round two and three, we're like, oh shit, okay, let's see what we can do here. We kind of switched it up a little bit, sort of cleared the base a little bit more. I thought Dranzer in particular was not quite what I expected, and I've played on teams with Dranzer, and I've played against Dranzer, and he's fantastic. Like, he's really good. One of his real strong suits is just like getting in your face and spawn killing you over and over and over. He's quite an annoying player to play against because he's just so good at spawn fragging you and sort of just being where you don't want him to be.
Hmm.
I don't whether it was just him maybe not practicing as much as he needs to, or him just perhaps being a little bit out of shape. I know he hasn't played in any leagues recently and hasn't actually, I don't even really see him in Pride very often. He kind of just shows up for the league. So maybe a little bit of rust showing, perhaps. Not to take away from the fact that he's a really good player, but I just don't think this first week really showed off his strengths at all. I thought that perhaps he didn't quite, live up to be as much of a menace as he can be. And I think that was an ultimate sort of deciding factor, coupled with, unfortunately, Stell's timeouts there, which is super unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, week one it always sucks to lose, right? But week one you have an opportunity to change, what you're doing. If you do lose, I mean, win or lose, right? It's so early in the season. So they certainly are a good team. They have a lot of experience playing, so they're gonna figure it out. Yeah, I mean, I've played with Dranzer too. I think it's very like map specific, maybe. I mean, I know, and Dranzer, I'm sure doesn't give a shit, that
No,
I'm gonna
no,
say this, but like the
100%.
guy
He won't see this.
dodges practice, right? Like he
Yeah.
just is like, no, I'm not doing, and that's fine. I've always been somebody that no matter, even when I, was playing every single day, I needed to warm up for a little while. So I like to play a lot when I'm trying, right? And he's just, it's not everybody's thing.
No.
And I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. Who knows? Because, I think my team practiced the most in WDL last season, and we certainly didn't win. So, practice does not always make perfect, but they'll figure it out. They're three, four, like really good players. I'm not worried about them necessarily, but yeah, just I would say a good win for our team. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Also, as you highlighted, Buto or whatever you called him, Poto.
Oh,
Apparently, he did use voice comms, so I stand corrected. Clearly, I've never heard them use voice comms ever, but that's totally cool. And I guess it wasn't a factor.
guess not. I was trying to think of some joke about how they would communicate, but
I thought it was just binds,
cool.
to be honest.
Yeah, maybe there's like, yeah, never mind. It's not even gonna be
Whatever,
funny.
whatever.
Whatever. Okay, cool. So that was week one. Jumping into week two, we played Tundra Terminal. Is that the name of the map? Tundra
Yes, it
Terminal.
is.
Yeah. Um, yeah, this map. I oddly enough played this map in like I might have been dragged into DML once or twice. I don't might have been once. And I played that map there, and I just remember thinking, "Fuck this map." But mostly because I find the um, I find the area with that gate that you have to push down to be not like a good. I can't even choose words. I don't like the way that it balances out the map. Like
Hmm.
if you're a defender, it's very easy for someone like what does it take for you to get from the flag to the middle if you have the flag? It probably takes you 2 seconds, right? If you just straight out SR50, 2 seconds. You can't have a map where there's the only way out to get the runner is to go around this big giant pillar. Like to me, I feel like it just that's my problem with it. I'm not saying
Mhm.
it's the worst map in the world. I just think like if you get a shitty spawn, you get a shitty spawn, and that's all you can do. Like you can't do anything about it, so you have to rely on the rest of your team. And I think it was maybe more of a factor like in maps that were made right when CTF first came out because nobody knew what competitive CTF was. So it was just like making a pretty map with a base. Um, and so I don't know. I found that to be kind of frustrating on this map, but I do like the gameplay where I saw a lot of people be really successful with that running to 2-0 thing where one guy positions himself basically at the entrance of the enemy base and does kind of the um I feel like Donald Trump where I'm doing this. He the person is fragging, the spawn points, and then the other person can just run out and you can cover them really well. Like I do like that part of it because it does take coordination. So not completely hating on the map, but yeah. What's your opinion on the map? Make me stop talking.
Yeah, no, I quite like the map. I wouldn't say it's my favorite at all, to be honest. It's I'm, as most people probably know, I'm always on D generally. Um and in order to play defense on that map, the best way, unless you have two clear, is to just kind of hang around main, which I know as a defender, I like really pushing up as much as I can. I like even going for runs occasionally, but if you don't want to leak a bunch of flags, you can't really do that because people
Impossible.
coming in top, you're pretty blind to that if you push out main. Um, yeah, my complaint, I guess, kind of similar to yours. I guess the bars. I don't even know what they could do to fix it because it is such a good map. I wouldn't want them to change it. I think it is what it is at this point. I feel
Yeah.
like there should be kind of a better way out that's maybe a little bit quicker, just because.
Even if you
It's
add a
so
spawn, like
yeah.
add a spawn outside the bars, like add one on that side
Oh,
because all the
that would
spawns are
so
over.
suck.
It would suck, but
It
like,
would be awful.
RNG, man,
Yeah,
RNG,
just
it's
get
gonna be random.
RNG'd out of the game.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about that one, but yeah, it is such a grindy map, and we saw that with a lot of the scorelines and how long some of these games went. I do think it is really fun, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the map being grindy. I think you just kind of got to play into it and really figure out how to get around that. But it is definitely a factor. Like, just it's a little bit boring to play on D, to be honest, because it is like I feel all the spawns are good for a defender.
Mhm.
Like, no matter what, the guy touches your flag unless you're getting spawn fragged, which is what, as you were saying, the mid was kind of trying to do on most of these teams. You really have like two good opportunities to kill that runner before he gets out of the base. So in that respect, it does become very grindy, but I still quite like the map.
Well, I have to say, as it's kinda given me a cool opportunity, in watching the games to I watched you, one, like, first of all, I don't even know how to watch a fucking demo on Zandronum, I don't know how to do it, and I haven't taken the time to figure it out. But I used to watch a lot of demos, right? And I wanna
Yeah.
be able to, like, figure out how I can help my team better. So I was watching what you were doing, and to be fair, like, not everybody can do what you're doing, which is like frag, 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 and I just like point, kill, point, kill, point, kill, and I'm like, I could do that, and maybe I could make the same shot as you, but
Hmm.
so,
Or just get the
um,
RNG, man.
yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to. I just what you do really well. So like the way that you were playing, where you were just staring up at
Top.
the
The
top, like
bridge, yeah.
that's a very unique thing that I feel like only you and maybe Stal or somebody could do, right? Like it's not most other people would not be able to control the map from that spot. So um yeah. Anyway, uh it was cool to watch. So we'll talk about our game though coming up. The first one was SWAT and SWL. So we talked about this already, but some adjustments had to be made because both of these teams walked into week two looking for their first win, and I think SWAT they didn't change their lineup. They
No.
ran with the same lineup, but the first round was really really hard for SWL to get any sort of pressure. Like Shane did a Shane. I'll give him this. He would get into the base and he would touch the flag, and then he would die immediately. That was it. That was his like entire existence in round one was to just touch the flag and die because Stal was just killing him every single time. The guy had 20 returns and Shane had 19 touches. I mean, right? So, um, and it was a very grindy match, which fits the Wiz Stal Dranzer lineup very well. Grind it out, like make sure that they don't get any meaningful touches, and you'll probably sneak a flag or two out. Um, and I say this, I've had this conversation with people before. I think people sleep on Dragon as a runner, and I say that because, first of all, he hates running. He doesn't want to run. He is a reluctant, dominant runner, in my opinion, and I will do this with him when I play with him every season. I will start him off because he says, I'm not okay, I'll say, what positions does everybody want to do? Like, I have my idea, but like, what are you guys interested in? Never once has he volunteered to run. I'm like,
Right.
okay, I will indulge you for a little while. Things don't go well. I'm like, hey, Dragon, time's up, time to run. And it's like things just fall into place because maybe he's not going to get out with like that sort of sharp or AVC or, level of like five flags immediately. But the kinds of touches that he makes and also the pressure that he puts on the D and his ability to frag too is a big factor in why he's so successful. So I think what I saw was that in rounds two and three, um, they swapped it where Dragon really put a lot more pressure on O and got a lot more touches. He had more touches than Shane did, and they were able to score more. It really kind of took SWAT and mixed them up a little bit. They just weren't really sure, how to handle that. because they got like SWL got less touches than SWAT, but it was just their touches were like I think by the time SWL scored 2 flags in round 3, I remember seeing that they had only had 2 touches. That's a 50% cap percentage. Like
That's nasty. Yeah.
it's crazy. So their touches are more meaningful. And there's a school of thought behind that that we could spend a long time talking about. But anyway, I just think like um, SWL made the adjustments. They put Dragon in, and that's not to say that like some maps. Look, Salt Mine played this week. I didn't like Legion didn't play this week. Dragon did. It just fit that lineup better for them. And Dragon came out. I felt like that's why I put him as MVP this week because I felt like his pressure really changed the game for them. When like in week 1, I mean I don't know exactly how many caps they had, but this was like the third or fourth round where SUL is just not scoring anything. Like 2 weeks in a row, no caps. So I
Mhm.
felt like this really changed it for them, and it was a really good win
Yeah.
for them.
No, I thought it was a really good game to watch, actually. I didn't expect the result that happened. Um, Thank you, Christian, for saying that. Um, I didn't expect the result to happen at all. Excuse me. And it was sort of round one. Obviously, SWAT took round one, and it was kind of going, okay, this is sort of what I expected to happen after what I'd seen week one. Um, and then SWL, I heard actually from Shane that they had like a little bit of a position mix up going into round two, where they didn't
Interesting.
know who was doing what, and they kind of both played mid. I-
Well, all right.
and so like that's a really interesting shift, but I guess just through blind luck, it really worked because it messed
Who would
up.
have thought?
It
No
messed up.
runner, two
No
mid,
runner, two
four
mid. Just kind
flags.
of yeah, go for whatever
New CTF strategy.
you feel like. Maybe it is. Maybe they're onto something. But no, they sort of. I think what you were saying, I agree with in the fact that whatever like SWL ended up doing, obviously by accident, um, sort of just messed with what SWAT was expecting and what they were kind of used to. Perhaps even in the practices they were playing, like I'm 100% certain they didn't play any teams that were doing two mid by accident. So
I'm pretty sure nobody was, so I would not know
no,
how to play against that either.
why would you practice that? And I just caught them off guard. I don't think I guess they were able to really adjust in time, which I guess ended up being the ultimate factor. They kind of took round two by surprise, and I was like, okay, round three, this is probably going to go back to SWAT because they've realized, okay, they've changed this up. Let's figure this out. Let's just stop them from doing this. But that kind of didn't happen, and SWL took it in a 3 rounder. So yeah, really good to see. And it kind of just goes back to the fact I'm going to keep mentioning it every single time, but this league's going to be really, really close, and not like who you expect to win is always going to win, and it's going to be pretty long and drawn out a lot of the times.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue into the next game.
Yes.
So the next game was a 5 rounder, right? TR versus DR, and yeah, I wasn't really sure how this game was going to go. I feel like also I didn't know that I didn't know that this was the way that like okay, it doesn't matter, I don't care, but I didn't read the rules, right? Apparently, so I didn't know that you had to first to 2 wins like you would in the playoffs in the WDL, right? So
Right.
um, yeah, it just kept going, and it was like one thing would happen, and like you finally think like I think at one point maybe TR went up by 2, and you're like, oh, maybe they finally cracked it, and then no, DR comes back and they score 2, so they tie it again, and so at the end of 5 rounds, TR wins it, right? And yeah, they won it. They whatever they did, they broke through, and I think they had gone up maybe 3-1 in round 5, and then it was 3-2, and it was one of those situations where it was either going to be 3-3 or 4-2, and it ended up being 4-2 for TR. But yeah, it was really cool to see a game, especially like in a season where there's only 4 weeks. So every win matters. Like you want to have that opportunity to keep going and get like if there's a chance you can win, take it and keep playing
Oh
and
yeah.
figure it out. Um, so yeah, I thought it was a really good game, and both of these teams did a really good job of like just going back and forth and trying as hard as they could to win. I wouldn't be upset if I was the losing team in this game. I just like they played as hard as they could. It was a close game. Essentially, it could have been considered a tie. So
Yeah, no, it was really, really close, and I think, honestly, once you go past 3 rounds in sort of a doom game, endurance really starts to play a factor, and I thought both teams really kept up their game. I didn't see one team sort of lagging behind and be like, "Oh, these guys are exhausted. They're really not playing good anymore." They both teams were just at each other's necks the entire time. Looking at the scoreline, it was, fairly dominant in the favor of TR. Like, DR didn't take any rounds at all. They just had 3 ties. 3 ties is nuts, like, when it's
yeah,
that close. TR was just able to kind of, get that little extra inch they needed to take these wins. And I thought Tiger was doing a really good job running. And it was Mers was playing D for TR, which was really good to see. He held his own. Obviously, they didn't go down a single round, right? So it was really good to see from Mers. Poto, I noticed. I watched Poto for a lot of this. He was playing fairly defensive, but then when he did go for runs, they were like really, really important touches where he'd help out Tiger a lot, and then they kind of get it across mid or just shuffle between the flags. So yeah, it was a really good game to see. It felt like it was going to go on forever. Like, it was to the point where like it cut into our warm up time, and like it
yeah,
pushed back the exhibition game by miles.
yeah.
Like, but no, it was
I
awesome
was
to
like, hey
see.
guys, I'm old. I
Yeah,
got to
this
warm up.
is this is getting tough, guys. We should probably finish this. I was by the end, I won't lie, I was praying for it to end. I was like, please, TR, just please, just get the second round win. I'm like,
Somebody win.
this is if DR gets a win, this keeps going, like, this is gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, TR squeaked it out eventually. Definitely not a loss to really feel worried about if I was on DR. Like I said, kind of at the start of the stream, like if a couple of instances of RNG sort of went different, it could have been a very different story. Um, and Poto and Tiger and Mers, they had a really good composition going, and I felt like they had their positions worked out, and they didn't really get phased by any of the tie games, which was good to see.
Yeah, and I mean because of the fact that DR won in week 1 and 2 rounds, like losing and getting a point, they're still second in the standings. So,
Yeah, it didn't really
yeah.
hurt them that much, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a really good game. I would say that was probably the most like when you're in the middle of it, I think really because it wasn't like the last game, it was like you said, impacting the exhibition game and then our game's coming up and it's like fucking
Yeah.
end this thing. But it was really like in hindsight, really fun to
hmm
watch a game go that long. So I
That's
like
actually a
this.
good point. I'm kind of thinking ahead now to week 4, map 4, really grindy map. I think, I mean, it might not be possible just because of
I'm gonna have to
when people have to play, but I might sort of push captains to schedule their games like 2 hours between each other rather than 1 hour, because
yeah.
it could really drag out if we have some more 5 rounders or whatnot. But yeah, no, it was good to see.
SXP strategy is gonna come alive in week 4.
Oh, dude, you're gonna have some fun week 4.
Yeah. And then the last game was our game, which was exciting to watch and listen to because I feel um, like I touched on it. Being a captain and trying to decide who plays is really hard. Um, and the first round was 0-0. It was like very unexpected. I felt like that I was
hmm
not
Yeah,
expecting that. And I was like, shit, where do you go from there? So okay, it's going to be a 3 rounder. Um, round 2, you lost 2-1, and I didn't. I mean, I watched it. I felt like it was a lot like round 1, and you had mentioned feeling like you still had some control. It was just like 1 or 2 things went wrong, and we
yeah.
didn't score. So when you got on and you were like, "Do you want to play, or should we put you in?" I was like, "You guys didn't really like. Okay, you lost, but
Well, not really. Like, it
not
was,
real. Like I just couldn't.
yeah.
Do I want to play? Yes, but I couldn't be like. I really felt like you guys could figure it out. Like it,
hmm
and you did. You go into round 3, and it's a crazy. And then suddenly flags start to come for both teams, and it's 5-3, and kind of just the exclamation point on the end of it in round 4. Um, Yeah, so I don't know, talk about that from your perspective. I think that was a really fun game to watch. And for me, I feel like I got a special, like, I don't know, whatever, behind the scenes look. Like, it was
Yeah,
cool to
yeah, no,
just
you
see the
definitely
whole thing unfold. Yeah.
definitely did. You saw me stressed out is what you saw me.
Yeah,
No, SP was yeah, it was a hard game, man. Round 1, like you said, it was 0-0, not expected. I think it's the only one so far of this league. I think we were really just feeling each other out. I think both sides' defense in terms of their mid and their defenders sort of just shut things down. There was nothing really getting out. There was a couple close instances for both teams where I was like, holy shit, like that almost could have been a cap, but it didn't quite happen. Um, Going into round 2, like you said, we kind of just played the same, which I guess was maybe a bit of a mistake, but it really felt like there was so many instances where we literally had a flag like feet away from our flag stand, just ready to be capped, and then Sparrow or Lang or Marine or whoever would just literally get like 2 kills in one shot and just get like barely get that return. So there's a couple instances where it's like, man, like that could have gone so much differently. But
yeah.
yeah, SB really kept us on our toes. Round 3, between round 2 and 3, that was when I was, guys, what what am I doing? Should we play U-Bones, Salt Mine, how you feeling, all that kind of stuff. And
You guys had really good comms. You
I
were
think
not, like,
it's one of our strong suits for sure
playing
is our
badly at
comms.
all, so
No,
I
no,
couldn't see, even as a captain, like, I've done that before too, like, we're down, but I don't really feel like we
no,
should put somebody else in,
I didn't feel
fuck
like
with
we
the
were out.
chemistry.
I was just
No.
wondering if we, yeah, just like sort of switch it up just to
Yeah,
break whatever SB had going. And I ended up just saying like Salt play more aggressive, and then that
which really
result.
worked.
It didn't at first. It ended up with a bazillion guys in my base, and they got 2 flags early, round 3. So I was like, now we're kind of screwed, guys. And then we managed to somehow take round 3. We came back from that, and then round 4, we kind of just played at what we had going there. Really warmed up. Really nervous, actually. I felt like I'm usually not nervous at all through games, but going into round 3 and 4, like I actually felt a lot of pressure. Marine and Lang were just relentless. It felt like they had 2-0 on me for most of that, and yeah, there was a lot of instances where I could have missed a shot or got a reverse RNG roll, and it would have just been gone. But kind of got a little bit lucky. Not my fault. I have useless D in a trash captain. Nice, nice. No, it was a close game, and I know I've said it like 3 times this stream already. I'm just repeating myself over and over. Terrible, terrible guest. But it's not a loss that if I was on SP, I would be ashamed about or really too worried about, because it was just so close that it doesn't really mean much going forward, to be honest. Just like a couple small changes, and that would have been a complete different game.
Yes, that is a true thing.
I
I think
did.
the
I
entire
literally did.
team had to shower after the game.
We were all just like after that game, we're like, I need to shower. I'm sticky now. This is disgusting. It was so sweaty.
Yeah, but a really good win, and I think that's, yeah, it's just cool when you have, like, I don't know, you equate this in, like, terms of video game seriousness, right? But to go through adversity
Yes.
and, to come out with it's cool. It's fun because, what else are we doing this for? Why are we sitting here playing this if not to win? So,
No.
that was cool. Yeah. So, just to repeat the standings, we have SPG with 8 points, DR with 6, SP and TR have 5, SWL with 4, and SWAT with 2. So, still anybody's game at this point. Taking a look at week 3, we can give some quick, um, have a quick chat about week 3. Volcanicity is a
Yeah.
slightly different map than the first 2 weeks. It's longer. If that makes any sense. So it's going to play a lot differently. It's going to open up the season into kind of that. Yeah, it's just going to be different. I don't know. I don't have any negative or positive feelings toward this map other than, like, yeah, it's just going to be different. So what do you think?
Got both feelings toward this map, to be honest. Yeah, you're right. It is a long
Mm,
guy. It is a long fucking map. It just
yeah,
stretches on forever. It's I think it's really gonna switch up sort of the feel so far of the season. Like it's the opposite of sort of what we played so far, where both maps we played have been like sort of medium fraggy, kind of grindy maps. But this one is the opposite. I think it's really runner centric. Like when you think of sort of the way the map's laid out, there's a lot of room in the bases. Obviously, mid's quite long, so it is hard to get through mid. But once you're in through mid as a runner, like you have so much time and space, a lot of health, a lot of armor, teleporters. There's just so many ways out, and so much you can do with the sort of the lanes of sight that you have. It's pretty hard to lose a player. Or it's pretty easy, sorry, to lose a player as to where he is on the map, and it becomes quite a challenge for the defenders. So I think teams which perhaps haven't been liking, or they're having to like really hardcore adjust for these slightly more grindy maps, are going to find their footing on this map in particular. Um, I mean, we'll probably touch into it in a second, but if I could name like just the first two names that pop in my head is like, oh fuck, I really don't want to play these guys on this map, would be like Poto and Tiger, and of course we play both of them.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's just how it goes. That seems to be a running theme. That's all right.
Yep.
Bit of fun. I think we got some cool matchups coming, which we'll touch on in a second. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this map. Not really the kind of map that I sort of look forward to playing a whole bunch, but I do look forward to actually sort of adjusting sort of what we're doing, and see how we can come over, sort of changing up our playstyle.
Yeah, I always like doing that. It's yeah, you're right. It's like a runner's paradise, really. Like,
Oh yeah.
if you can get into the base, then yeah, I'm thinking of like like yeah, Sharp, Tiger, um, yeah, pretty much anybody, that's
It's like a
can,
playground in there for runners. They could
yeah,
teleport there. Oh, look, I've got the RJs, and I've
right.
got the health. Like it's crazy, but it's also really good to see that.
Yeah, yeah, it's because that's to me, I always felt like it's these kind of like departure maps
Yeah.
that are just different that like I always like to put ZD CTF map 15 in like the middle of the season because it just doesn't make any sense, right? So it's like here's some good maps and then
Here's
fuck
a
you, figure it out. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
if your team's gonna make it to the finals, you need to
You got to
play
figure it
this
out.
map. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I
Uh,
like that as well. It would be
yeah,
boring if all the maps were just like Tundra Terminal and
right.
Redshift or whatever. Like it would just be boring. And so this is good
Yeah.
that it's not.
Speaking of which, week 4, but anyway, um, it's gonna be fine. Yeah, so some good matchups. I mean, we can't really talk too much about our own, right? But SBG is playing TR, so
Yeah,
Poto and Tiger on this map. That's gonna be a fun one. Looking forward to that. Um, DR and SWAT. You know, this might be a map maybe where Stahl runs. The Stahl run? I don't know. Could
I'd
he could
I'd
he
I'd
do
bet
run on
against
this
that.
map?
I'd bet heavily against that. But
I
maybe
mean,
you're
I
right.
would bet against it too, but like I know the guy can run, so I'm just
Oh yeah,
thinking of like the position that SWAT is in. They pretty much really need to win this game. So like
they do.
whatever you need to
Yeah,
throw at the wall, um, throw it at the wall now because it's week 3 and you got to do something. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried something new, but I would also be less surprised if they didn't change. Is that right? Yeah.
I like that take.
Um,
I like that take.
yeah, it's like, I've perfected the art of saying nothing,
Yeah,
and it's really great. Yeah, and then DR is yeah. I mean, I don't know. Playing Amar on this map is gonna suck. Playing Sharp on this map is gonna suck. So fuck you guys. I don't have to do that. So that's my only commentary about that.
yeah. Honestly, kind of harken back to what I said earlier. Like I think for SWAT, what they need to do is they just need to figure out what the fuck they're gonna do with Dranzer.
Yeah,
Like where can they put that
Drancer can
guy?
run also.
And what can you tell him that's gonna just set him up? Because you can do that with Dranzer. Like if you tell him to do something, he'll do
Hmm.
that to the best of his
Hmm.
ability, and it's usually fantastic. I think they
Yes.
really just need to figure out exactly what they need that guy to do in order for them to win. If I was on SWAT, you know, I would probably put him on mid, just a fraggy mid, like make sure no one crosses that, make sure the defenders and their runners are having a hard time getting out of the base. I'll let Wiz run because Wiz is a good runner. And he's kind of sneaky. He's quite good at like just sort of losing the runner or losing the defender, sorry, and just kind of hiding for a little bit and then coming out when you least expect him when perhaps someone like Dranzer just pushed up and killed everyone. So I think if I was on SWAT, that's what I'd be looking to do. But yeah, I think a lot of it depends on what they can figure out with Dranzer. And then DR, they've kind of just got it figured out. I think DR is the ones to lose this. Honestly, it's their game to lose. Like
Yeah.
Amar's probably going to be playing mid. Sharp's a fantastic runner. Amar's going to have to just, do what he does best and assist Sharp. And yeah, I do think it's DR's game to lose, but that's not to say it's going to be really close. We'll probably see a 16 round game out of this one. So I look forward to watching it.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think they do have it figured out, and I think for Amar, he really just has to control mid and try to, even if it's like take pot shots at somebody as they're running into the base. If you need to help Sharp, which I think like in this case, he drafted really well. He doesn't need to help Sharp very
Right.
much. Sharp can make things, happen on his own, and it's one of those maps where it's not like week 2. I feel like where teams a runner just can bolt right out, and that can sometimes be a really good strategy. There's really no bolting out of this one.
It's pretty
So they
long.
need to,
Yeah.
yeah, they need to make a plays for themselves in the base, and I think Sharp can do that. So Amar really just has to be there to support him when he comes out, and just even if that means 2 guys get behind him, as long as he's shot, given a shot at 1 or 2 of them, Vinny can clean it up. So yeah, I'm interested to see what SWAT does. As
Yeah.
far as a prediction, do you want to give a prediction?
Prediction. Ooh. I'm gonna say DR in 3. I could see SWAT taking 1 for
Hmm.
sure. That's also not to say that this is a sure thing. Like, I think SWAT has full potential to totally win this and probably win it quite comfortably. It's just whether or
Mhm.
not they can sort of figure out what's not been working for them. Um, yeah, I think DR is probably the safer bet on this matchup, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close. I can't. I'm saying DR in 3, but I'm not even super confident in that one.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I'm gonna say DR in 4.
DR in 4. Okay.
Yeah.
See DR in 5.
If we could anything to just one up you. If I could do ties, I would say a tie, but
Yeah.
I think DR will figure it out. But I'd be more than happy to be proven wrong and surprised. So
Yeah.
we shall see.
We shall.
And SP versus SWL. I like this because Dragon and Disparol have played together so many times that they know they kind of have this like ESP thing going. They know how the other person plays a lot.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, I don't know. I just think like despite the lack of practice that SWL has had, they're still a really strong team, and Ninja Dog cannot be uh, slept on. I would love. I know Shane can play like a monstrous mid game where he's getting a ton of frags, but I know he can also defend. So I would love to see like Shane defend and have Ninja Dog play mid, because I think on a map like this that would be pretty nuts.
Yeah.
And if you had Dragon running, or even like, yeah, I know this would never happen, but like Ninja Dog and Dragon running together, like I would just love to see that combination, because I know Shane can hold it down on D. So that would be interesting. And I don't know. I'm curious. I imagine that SP is going to go like with a Disparrow running and Lang mid combo. So can Marine Guy, stop uh, the running combo? I don't know. So
Yeah.
my
Well,
my prediction would be that SWL figures it out and
ooh,
wins in 3.
wins in 3.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna say that.
Okay. I'm gonna counter that off here. I'm gonna say
Okay.
SP wins this in 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna put that.
That is
I'm putting
that is
ballsy
the direct
predictions out
opposite of
here.
what I said. So I'm cool with
Exact
that.
opposite of what you said. I think SP has a really good lineup for this. I think Moringa is showing throughout the season so far that he's really good, especially on D.
Yeah.
If he plays anything like he did on week 1, I think he's got a very good chance at holding off, Dragon and Shane or whatever sort of lineup they end up going for. With SWL, not that they can't win this match, and I hope they do. I hope they prove me wrong, but I think it's gonna be much harder for them to sort of work out what they're gonna do in terms of their positioning. Like you said, I think it would be beneficial to have Ninja Dog at mid, but that just doesn't always work sometimes. Like I know firsthand sometimes like if you want to play mid and you're usually a defender, sometimes it just doesn't work with the team chemistry. Like you just find you're always helping, whoever's now playing D while you're on mid, and then you lose offensive pressure, which is what you kind of went to mid to do in the first place. Um, and then saying that as well, I think I saw a lot in week one, and it might have been a little bit down to like having less practice or whatnot. I felt Ninja Dog was really pushing up as a defender to really try and get sort of the offensive pressure that he wanted while still being on D. But then you'd see a lot of players get behind him, and then I mean, if you let that happen on this map, I'm not saying it will, but if that situation was to play out on this map, like you just literally can't see the runner at all, and you can hide in like a huge mansion of a base for as long as you want, pretty much, and then you're pretty screwed. So I think SP has sort of just a more comfortable lineup on this one, which is why I'm going to say 2-0 against SWL. But I'd like to see SWL prove me wrong and sort of maybe come up with something fancy with their lineup and really figure out how they're gonna go around SP.
I'll explain why I think that is because this map is not a square box, right?
Yeah,
Like I think with the sort of years of experience that SWL has, I can't say that SWL. Um, I don't know. You get into these situations where like somebody who's been playing for whatever 15 years versus like so Dragon versus Marine Guy. I don't know how long he's been playing, but not as long as Dragon. Um, like or whatever. Like I think there's going to come a point where if it's one on one in a base where you have to make plays for yourself, like you just have more experience doing that. So that's the only thing that I was thinking about.
right.
But
Stop the
Marine
experience
Guy
back.
could totally come and I would not be surprised if he came and
Yeah, I
broke.
could see Boomerang guy holding his own.
Yeah,
I
me too.
it'll be a good test of comms. I've seen SP has decent comms, so you definitely need good comms on this map. I just think one of my leading I can't speak at all. That's why you have me on radio. Good choice. I think one of the leading reasons I have sort of SP is my favorite for this one is Sparrow's just a really, really disgusting runner. And if like we're predicting that he does end up running, I think he's gonna do it with a smile on his face. I think he's gonna love just walking in the base and having, literally 2 minutes to come out because I don't know. I just think his playstyle really, really suits it. I could see him doing some rocket jumps and messing around the teleporter and just really juking people out. I could see that happening. Maybe SWL will hopefully just prove me wrong. I'd like to see it happen actually, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's a big we'll see, but I think SP has this one.
If it makes anybody feel any better, I have not thought about these matchups at all until right now. So I didn't put that much thought into it. I'm just kind of,
Just
but
throwing it
don't
out there.
take it for just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I am not an authority on anything. Yeah, so exciting week 3. I would assume that we'll come back and talk about the week 3 results after week 3. If that doesn't happen, it'll probably be after week 4, but we'll be back at some
Hell yeah.
point, right? Yeah. Anything else you wanted to say before we say
Yeah.
goodbye?
One other thing, I think the exhibition teams have been doing a fucking fantastic job.
Yes.
Yeah, it was IFS won 2-0 in week 1, and then FF came back and won 2-0 in week 2 here. So a little bit of a different lineup in terms of what's going on in terms of the rules. They've got much larger teams, like 6 or 7 players, and so the lineups aren't always going to be the same when they play each other. But you know, aside from like 1 or 2 players, we've had really, really good turnout out of the guys, and a lot of guys who perhaps wouldn't get drafted or haven't been drafted in the past, or just players who maybe haven't been around for Prime as much, so they sort of get slept on by the captains, and so they're in the free agents list, are having a lot of fun with it. So it's really good to see. Um, yeah, so far a really big success. I think a lot of guys kind of get in this loop almost where they don't get drafted by captains because they don't have any competitive experience, and then they don't have any competitive experience because they don't get drafted. So they kind of get, you know, caught up in this loop of not getting drafted. And I think it is really important that sort of leagues and guys who are interested in running sort of these events sort of look out for guys who perhaps don't have as much experience or don't have the time to play as much as everyone else. So I don't know. I hope it really just gives everyone the chance to play and gives everyone a little bit more experience. And I think we'll see perhaps a few more faces coming at these prives and stuff in the future.
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool. It reminds me of this loop, this stupid commercial that used to be on. It was like, uh, I don't have any money because I don't have a job. I don't have a job because I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school because I don't have any money. And then it just repeats over
It
and
just
over again. I
repeats.
don't have
Oh,
any money
yeah.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's really cool to see. Fuck, I wish I could find that commercial. But what was also cool was like so after that 5 round game
Hmm.
yesterday, everybody sat in the server and watched the exhibition game.
It
With
was
the
a good
exception
game.
of
Yeah.
us who were trying to like warm up. But it's cool to like see people not go exhibition game. I'm not watching that. Like everyone's in the server watching, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really good. I want to say like Axe is the captain of IFS and Beast is the
Hmm.
captain of FF. They're both doing a fantastic job. We've kind of got sort of two different group chats where they're sort of working out different strategies and when they're going to play. And it's like honestly, they're putting sort of more time and effort into it than I'd say even like the main teams are, which is fucking
Yeah.
it's awesome because those guys are going to go from perhaps not being the first pick up in a draft or maybe being slept on, and they're just going to gain so much experience and time on the field that these skill gaps that we might see are just going to get smaller and smaller. And I think that's the whole point. It's really good to see it happen.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's fun to see it come back. I think it can be maybe who knows, next season maybe you go from 6 to 8 teams. Who
Yeah,
knows?
exactly.
Yeah. Well, all right. Thank you for coming on and chatting. It
Thank
was
you
a
for
lot of
having me.
fun. And I guess we will see everybody next week, but good luck to all of our participants in week 3.
Hell yeah, we'll have some
See you
fun.
later.